Children, do you remember Raja's story? Yes, he was driven away by his grandfather and he was hiding in the field. When it became dark, he got afraid. Now he shifted his hiding place to the cowshed, especially the loft of the cowshed. Why he selected that place? Because by sitting there, he could see the veranda of his house. Okay, now let's continue the story. The news spreads. Then grandfather stood up and went outside and called aloud, "Come, Raja, come, I won't beat you." But I did not answer him, for I thought he would beat me. Grandmother was angry and said, "He won't come. You drove him away. I heard you say that you would beat him if he came home. Poor child. He's afraid of you and has run away." So, children, grandfather too started getting worried and he called aloud for Raja, but this Raja kept quiet. By this time, grandmother she got angry and she shouted at grandfather that you are the reason for Raja's missing. Okay, now let us see. Grandfather called the servants and asked them to go out and look for me. They went out, but after a while returned to say that they could not find me. Grandmother started weeping. Grandfather started walking up and down the courtyard. The children, this grandfather called his servants and asked them to find out Raja. After some time, they returned with no good news. This grandmother started weeping, and grandfather got more tensed. Okay, weeping means crying. Courtyard, the front space of a house. The news that I was missing spread. Our neighbors came first, then our relatives, and then others who had heard the bad news. Many came to offer their sympathies to grandmother. So, when the news spread, neighbors, relatives, and other people who heard this news all came to that house and they offered their sympathies to grandmother. Grandfather did not like this. He shouted, "Nothing has happened to the boy. He is hiding somewhere. Can't someone of you go out and find him instead of wasting your time here?" Children, on seeing all these things, all these people, grandfather got angry and he shouted, "Nothing has happened to that boy. Instead of wasting your time here, why don't you go out and search for the boy?" Okay. Then some of them went out to search for me. More and more people came, and soon there was a big crowd. By now, grandmother had lost all hope of seeing me again. She started telling the people what a good boy I was. The search parties returned without finding me. Grandmother started weeping loudly. The woman in the crowd also wept. The servants of the house joined in the wailing. They all acted as if I were dead. So, children, on hearing this, more and more people started coming to that house, and this grandmother lost all her hope of seeing Raja again. And the search parties, the people who went in search of Raja, came without any hope. Okay, the servants of the house joined in the wailing. They all acted as if I were dead. You know what is wailing, children? Wailing means to make a long, loud cry because of you feel sad or pain. Okay, then I felt very sorry for grandmother. I wanted to come out. Raja, on hearing all these things, he felt very sad that He could hear the sound of his grandmother. Okay, so he felt very sorry for that. Grandfather was a man of strong will, but I knew that he too felt very sad. He did not, however, lose hope. He stood up, turned in the direction of our family temple, and prayed. Help me, God, he said. Give me my child. I want him now. I cannot wait any longer. He then stood silent in prayer. So, children, on hearing all these things, even grandfather lost his hope. He turned in the direction of his family temple and started praying to God by saying that, give me my child back. Okay. At that moment, uncle returned. He learned what was happening at home. He looked around and guessed where I was. He came to the cowshed and asked me to come down. I came down. Uncle took me into the house. Grandfather had just finished his prayers and turned. As he opened his eyes, he saw me standing before him. He took me up in his arms in joy, hugged me, and said, God heard my prayers and has given you back to us. So, children, at the right moment, uncle came and he learned the situation of that house, and he knew very well that Raja will be hiding in the cowshed. So, he directly went to the cowshed and asked Raja to come down. Okay, then he took Raja into the house. As grandfather opened his eyes after prayer, he saw Raja standing in front of him. This grandfather hugged him and thanked God for giving Raja back to them. Okay, so that's all the story of Raja. Hope you like the story. Now let us discuss the questions and its answers. 10th question. Grandmother felt angry with grandfather. Do you support the grandmother? Why? Tell me, children, do you support the grandmother? Yes, because Raja is a small boy and he is very much afraid of his grandfather. Then 11th question. Why did grandfather lose his temper? Grandfather lost his temper because the relatives and neighbors made it a big issue. Where might the people have searched for Raja? Why couldn't they find him? The people might have searched him in the garden, fields, and neighbor's house. They couldn't find him because he was hiding in the loft of the cowshed. Now, 13th question. I wanted to come out. What prevented Raja from coming out? The fear of being beaten made him to stay in the cowshed. Now, 14th question. What would Raja say to his grandfather when he returned home? He might have said sorry to his grandfather. So, children, write the new words, then write all these questions and its answers. Thank you.